Hi, Cancer. Welcome to Pandora Astrology's monthly horoscope for July of 2021. Well, it's your birthday month, right? In case you hadn't noticed. I hope people are treating you right. And if they're not, maybe you should ask for a birthday reading, which is the very best way to hit the ground running in your personal new year, which may have already begun, but it's not too late. And you can find a link for that in the YouTube description below. Well, there's so much good stuff happening this July. First of all, Mercury retrograde is over. Woohoo! And Julie will say more about that in a minute. Secondly, both of this month's moons involve only harmony and no stress, which is great. And thirdly, while Juno still is retrograde, and we made a video about that last month, you'll find it in our June 2021 news playlist on our YouTube channel, Pandora Astrology. But this month, even though Juno is still retrograde, it's not involved with either of the moons in any harsh ways. So we can go on with our relationship retrospection period, but without as much emotionality as last month. So how's your relationship retrospection period going? Juno is traveling along through your sixth house right now while it's doing its retrospection. And it's really making all of us look at our committed relationships and ask ourselves the really big questions about what does this relationship mean? And is it fulfilling its deeper purpose? Now, because this is happening in your sixth house, you might really be re-examining your work partnerships with your workmates, people that you may be on a team with, or teams that you manage, or if you have a consultancy of some kind or an agency of some kind as your business, you work with people one-on-one, then I think that this might have you going through your Rolodex and evaluating, well, which of those clients do I really want to continue working with? And which of them seem to be holding back my growth? And maybe I'm ready to sever ties. So that's an interesting process, right? Hey, Julia, I know you have news about Mercury, Venus, and Mars. What's that good stuff for the Cancers of the world?
Oh yeah, there's some good news for sure. I will begin with Mercury first. The first piece of good news is it's coming out of its retrograde cycle. It's officially not retrograde, though it's still not moving fast. There might be a little bit of a shadow period at the very beginning of the month, but for the first 11 days of July, Mercury is still in your 12th house. This is a very secluded house. This is a very isolated house. And Mercury represents how we communicate, how we think. So you might be less inclined with sort of sharing your ideas with other people. You might get your best thinking from just kind of journaling something on your own instead of just kind of reaching out to others for it. And you could get some of your ideas from very ethereal places because the 12th house is the house of the subconscious. So maybe that's some dream journaling, maybe that's some meditation. But by July 1st, Mercury is going to move into your first house, and then you're going to be a lot more articulate, a lot more willing to sort of make a good impression with your intellect on other people because you will be embodying that Mercury energy very, very well. So a big shift from the first week of the month. Now, Venus starts the month in your second house of money and possessions. So great birthday month for getting some things that you want. Maybe people buy you some nice presents or you attract a little extra money luck to you, which will be really, really nice. Then Venus is going to go into Virgo, which is your third house, on July 21st. This is a wonderful transit because the third house can also represent communication, and Mercury also being in your first house. That means for the last week of the month, you'll be very, very articulate. You'll be able to smooth over any kind of issues in your relationships using your words. It's a wonderful time to take a little trip as well. The third house represents short journeys. So, a few hours drive here or there, do something new, go to the beach, go to a park. And then Mars, the planet of action and activity, is going to be for basically the whole month also in your second house of possessions and money as well. So it's sharing some of that time with Venus attracting some luck to sort of presence and possessions in your life. With Mars in the second house, you also might be a bit prone on impulsive spending too. It is your birthday month, so maybe you're just gonna, want to be a little bit, loose with your credit card. Make sure that everything you buy has a good return policy because Mars is very impulsive. Mars, wherever we have Mars is where we tend to also run into some conflict and frustrations. So with the second house of money, you know, there might be some sort of disagreements in your life over money as well. And Mars is going to move into your third house, also the house of communication, the last day of the month. We'll really cover that a lot more in our next video series.
Yeah, you know, I would think that Mars might also have a tendency to, you know, have you kind of ready to sort of spontaneously jettison some of your possessions too, because
Oh,
Mars
that's
likes to live in a Spartan way. And yeah, I mean, it could be like a revolving door at your place.
yeah.
Like, hey, I got some new stuff. I got to get rid of some old stuff. So
That's actually a very good, interpretation.
just you know, curb your impulses, shall we put it. Otherwise, you know, regret at leisure. So we got a couple of moons to talk about. The first one is happening on July 9th and thereabouts. Here it is. It's a moon in Cancer right here in your first house. And so you're probably going to feel this moon pretty strongly, as is probably the case for the new moon that's in your birthday month every year. This is a new moon is generally a time for planting seeds, new beginnings, that sort of thing. And this one we're calling random kindness because it is so loaded with sweetness, this moon. It's got harmonious connections to several other things. And you can find out more about it in our July 2021 news playlist and the video there about this moon. But for now, suffice it to say that having this moon land in the house of action, of, you know, where the rubber hits the road, of put your money where your mouth is, says that the more random kindnesses you do this month, especially close to this moon, the better you're going to feel about yourself. And also it can have the very positive side effect of giving you better boundaries. And wouldn't that be nice? Before I go to the second moon, I want to point to something that's happening also this month, which is that Chiron, this little guy right here, the Wounded Healer, which has been traveling through your 10th house for some years now, is about to go retrograde. It does this every year, around the same time of the year, every year, and it drifts as the years go by. But Chiron has been bringing up some old ouchies, some old wounds, particularly for you in the area of your career or your own sense of your authority and accomplishment or your relationships with authority figures. And this retrospection, the beginning of the retrospection period of Chiron this year is going to signal that it's time to really engage more deeply with that healing process. And you'll find that there's a video about this in, again, in our YouTube channel, Pandora Astrology, where you can find all the good things about Chiron transits and how they feel, as well as how to handle them. So I recommend you check that out. So we've got a little bit later in the month, the moon, the sun will move into Leo, out of your sign into the next sign. And that, you know, brings on the season of expansion and warmth and creativity and expression and parties. So let's all enjoy Leo this year. And then really shortly after that, on the 23rd, the moon moves into Aquarius, whereupon it opposes the sun in Leo, and it does so from your 8th house. This full moon we're calling community support, because when the moon is in Aquarius, generally the feeling is that your friends are your safety net, your community, your network. This is where you derive support. And a full moon can be emotional. Emotions may be high, in which case take that ego, which may be feeling fragile, to your friends and get some objective mirroring, and then make the adjustments that you need to make, because under this particular moon, because everything connected with it is so harmonious, it's likely that, you know, you'll be able to take the feedback. And that could be a really good thing. This one is falling in the 8th house, which is the house of our deep psychology. It's the house of alchemical change and metamorphosis. And so this moon could bring some emotions up to the surface in those conversations with friends and community that that maybe you don't look at every day, and that might be really great to just kind of wash out of there. All right, well, I think that's what we have for you. I hope you enjoyed it. We certainly enjoyed making it for you. And if you did enjoy it, please share it widely. Send it to all of your friends and relatives. We'd love to see them as well as you in our little corner of the cosmos. And you can always find good stuff like this on our YouTube channel, Pandora Astrology, or on our website, pandoraastrology.com, where you will find horoscopes and the monthly forecast, as well as our services page and all the readings that we do, and then classes as well. And until next time, we'll see you around the cosmos. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.